to where I thought they're only mad people. So I thought, wow, she thinks we are mad. But anyway, I'm now today I got it off. So she's going to share with us. As I said, if I'm talk about her, I'll not finish. Thank you.
From your introduction, you told us that you are apparently quote unquote a village girl. So you said you grew up in the village, in Shema, and so could you, like, from now that perspective of um, how important were role models to you? Like, how did you know? Because from my village perspectives, most of the girls that I played with in the village and went to fetch water with, they've gotten married, and they are 18 and 17. So how did you know that you could, be more than just dig, get a little bit of money, get married, and have children? How important were role models in your career development? Who did you look up to? And yes, thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. Like I said, basically a village girl. My Most of my years, school years, I was in a village. Though I started out in towns and what, but like I said earlier, my father took early retirement. So at before 40 years, he chose to retire, and we were packaged to the village. So we adjusted and moved on. We moved on, and I was raised by parents who would encourage you to do whatever you wanted. My father would work hard, would earn, would work with him in the plantations, would go and every work in the village that you see people doing, we did it as children growing up. So for me, it taught me to value work, because for me, work is work. It is not sitting. Whether I have to use my head, whether I have to use my hands, I will work. I will do my thing. So for me, I learned to value work. I learned to know that you cannot get anything without working for it. So going to school, we had the supportive parents, and they encouraged us to be the best that we could be. I actually have a sister, when she was talking about a boy saying, you mean you can stand with, my sister, I think she was the most brilliant of all of us, and for her, she said, I'm going to do it. And the boys would now compete with one girl. And at that time, when she was going to S1, she was the best in the whole of the old Abushenyi district. So when she goes to secondary, the boys were like, no, this time we are going to get her. So she kept beating them until, for where she is now, for her, the sky is the limit. And for me, that gives me to what I wanted to say, that there is enough sky for each one of us to shine in whichever way we want to shine. You can only limit yourself. I cannot say because Dr. Rose is here and she's a doctor and me, I'm pure arts. We can all shine in our different capacities. And another thing for me, what has helped me really as a working person is, in addition to focus, I choose which battles to fight. I will fight battles that will benefit me. But if it's not my battle, this business of please come and hate this person for me, or join me to fight this, I don't do it. I fight my battles and I choose which battles I'll fight. How will it benefit me? So I don't just go for anything. So that has helped me to keep focused, to know that I'll do my work. And another thing, my principle is I'll earn the money I deserve to earn. So if I've not worked for it, I won't even look there. If it's money, I've worked for it, I've earned it in the right way, and I use it the way I've planned to use it. So I don't go like, trying to look for, no, that one I don't do. And I will stick to that until my working days are over and I retire. But I choose to earn money the right way. And when I earn that money, I use it the right way. The other thing I've learned is to move with change that is beneficial. I think when now Dr. Martha came to this university, we were migrating from paperwork. You know, there was a lot of paperwork in the academic registrar's office. So we are migrating through those systems. And it was tough for Deborah is here, you know, adjusting, saying, how do we move? These things, yes, we've been working like this, but we cannot stay there. We are here doing an event on air. But if it wasn't COVID, we would probably need bigger space than this. But we are here, and I believe we are making a difference. We are making impact. So we move with change, as long as this change will enable me to continue doing my work. And another thing I've learned is respect. Respect for my superiors and respect for the people I supervise, because they come with their issues as well. So how do I respect them? Because if I don't, and their work is not done, then it will impact on my work as well. Because I need somebody in the hostel, maybe, let's say, who is doing cleaning. I need to respect the work they are doing and create a good working environment, working tools that will enable them to do their work well. And it's my duty now to make sure that those materials to use are there. And I know by doing that, they will do their work and do it well, and it will minimize infections and complaints and that kinds of thing. Then I also believe in supporting other people to shine. Yeah, I think that's what she was saying. I would say, Fiona knows it, I'll tell her, tell me what you want to do. And me, I will find the resources. If the university has them and they are for this, tell me what you want to do and we shall do it. Okay? And that's my belief. If somebody can shine, I will encourage them, I will support them so that they can shine. Like I said, there's enough sky. If somebody shines in the other corner, it won't take away my shining. I'll still shine. So I support other people to shine as well. And I try to find a balance. Well, I'm not married, but I try to do other things. I do other things. I participate in community activities, social responsibility. I give my input where I can. I serve in my church. I'm a Christian. I serve in my church. I contribute in my church. I pray. So for me, I believe I have a purpose wherever I find myself. Okay? So I'll do what I've been purposed to do and do it well. So I always tell, I apart from, well, I'm a counseling psychologist, so I counsel, like she said. I don't even remember that incident, but I'm happy I helped your friend. But I also support counselors in training to do their best. And that's what I always tell them. In this job, counseling is not really understood in this country. But I encourage people that if you want to earn the money in this job, do your best. And I have very good students I've mentored, and students where my former students, I will say, I'm sending you my client because I know they will do a good job. Because sometimes I get clients and I don't have the time. So I say, I'll send you to this person. So I encourage people, I encourage young counselors to really do the best that they can do. For me, it's about doing the best and supporting other people to shine. So that, like Martha said, when you support other people, you are building a team. Because you know the team, you cannot do everything alone. You need other people. And I tell them, I tell my staff, go and do this. I'm not going to do it. And then for me, maybe I'll just edit or improve a little bit. And they do it and work moves on and we are all happy. So I think for me, it's about knowing what to do and going out and doing it in the best way that you can.
Wow.
I think we should leave the remaining minutes for Dr. Rose.
No, before you do that, I have just one burning question for you. how do you find counseling? Do you only do counseling in psychiatry, or you do general counseling?
I do general counseling. I counsel students. They actually do come to my
So
office.
how do you find counseling
I,
male?
I, the counseling for me is somebody will come, like you just look at them and you're like, this person is distressed. Somebody
Uh-huh.
will come, they are crying, you just see their chest moving, they are angry, and somebody says, I think I should first go out and come back when I'm more calm. And I'm like, no, sit, cry all that you want to cry. It's okay. Take your time, relax. And you're with this person for maybe 30, 40 minutes. And at the end of it, you see this person smiling. And for me, that's my joy. I'm like, okay, so this person can actually smile. So that's the beauty of counseling. And you help somebody, you clarify issues for them, because in counseling there are some problems that will be there that will not go away. But people need a bit of clarity, they need a bit of understanding their challenges, and once they do that, you've set them. The sky is the limit. They will move on. They will move on. So for me, that's where I find my joy in counseling. Mm.
Wow, thank you so much. Uh, she's Dr. Muhindo Rose. She joined us after they had introduced themselves. I'm actually so glad to be a leader, because one of the most impacts that I've got is meeting people, because I've met very different people. Because I'm imagining if I was just a student, then I would know only the mentors in our faculty. But I'm glad that I can meet her, and you never know when I'm sick, and she looks at me and like, oh, I think I know her. Maybe it could be different. Again, it is really an experience, and I'm so glad, very happy to be one of someone that can host big people in front of me, one that can write to a funny message. I'm thinking I don't know how to even address formally. I think it could be informal, but still they say, let me just go. You get. So thank you for coming. You're going to just briefly explain to us how you've built your career. Uh, the first time I saw an accident, I was like, oh, I'll never be a doctor. Like I found blood everywhere. I was like, God. Oh, now I'm imagining when they're taking this person to the hospital. Now, where will the doctor start from? So like, really? Mm-mm-mm-mm. Now, from that time, I was like, no, I think I cannot be a doctor. But she's here. She's a doctor. And a lady, imagine. Because me, before, when I was in primary, thought ladies are nurses. Then the males are doctors. So I used to think, I used to think only male can be doctors, because me, I thought it's their profession. Me, they are energetic. They can read those whatever, those names that I cannot even pronounce. So I'm welcoming you officially to tell us about your story.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, Rose Muhindo is my name, and I'm a medical doctor by profession. Um, I was thinking while I was sitting here, I was like, I've actually been practicing medicine for 17 years. This is myself. I'm also shocked. But I thank God. I can't take that for granted. It's throughout those 17 years, it didn't just come easy. I didn't fall from the sky. I didn't come out of my mother's womb as a doctor. It's something that I had to work towards, okay? So I remember growing up, when you're growing up, you don't really know what you want to do. But I'm sure if I asked many of us in this room, what did you want to do when you were still a kid? Most of us wanted to be teachers. Am I right? Yes. So we look at these teachers standing in front of us, and they're writing on the chalkboard, and you're like, wow, lucky her. She's tall. She can reach up there. And you're like, I must be a teacher. So I knew 100% I needed to be a teacher, because the teacher would walk around the class and you're all shivering and shaking, and she's so, she's up there. So that's what I wanted to be. Until along the way, I kept changing. At some point, I thought I would be a hairdresser. And that's when I had started discovering myself as a girl. You know, you put beads here, beads there, you know, that kind of thing. I was like, okay, I think I want to work in the salon. And then along the way, you know, things kept on changing until my dad dictated that I go to medical school. So he didn't dictate, but he said, you have to become a doctor. I was like, okay, if that's, but I didn't know what he meant actually. But I just said, okay, why not? So I did a course that allowed me to come to medical school, and I joined, not knowing what I was in for, to be honest with you. But I come from a big family, and I'm the eldest girl in this big family. So I think my father had like very many plans up there, because he had had boys and then me. And he's like, aha, this Rose has to become the, you know, like whatever I want her to be. So anyway, to cut the long story short, I joined medical school. And along the way, you know, when you're in medical school, you don't, yes, you're going to be a doctor, but then what are you going to do with this doctorship? So I remember very well when I was in third year in my undergraduate years, then we got a visiting lecturer, and she was from Canada, to be precise. So I looked at this lady, and she was a nephrologist. So that's the study of kidney diseases. Now, all medical students will tell you that's one hell of a subject. Like, it's tough. It's tough to do kidney things, and it's not for the for the faint-hearted. So I looked at this woman teaching us all this nephrology, and I said, how come she understands it, and yet everyone says it's so hard? So I said, I'm going to follow her path. And that was in third year, undergraduate. So you know, when you finish medical school, you have to do your master's, then you have to do a fellowship and all that. So I said, no, it's fine. I will have to do whatever this lady did so that I become one of the kind. So slowly by slowly, I actually achieved my dream until I did my fellowship in nephrology, and I confidently started looking after kidney patients. And I used to address myself as the first female nephrologist. Now, this country had several years, not several, just a couple of years ago, there were just about 4 nephrologists in the whole country, and I was one of them. But I used to tell people that I'm the first female nephrologist, and in southwestern Uganda, there was not any until just last month when they brought a new, and we replaced some. We got another lecturer in our department, and she's also a nephrologist. So I used to tell people that all the kidneys in southwestern Uganda belong to me. Like, I have to look after all of them. So it's not been easy. It's not been easy doing, you know, like getting up to where I think I wanted to be. But I must say that in all this, what really inspired me and made me where I am today is just mentorship and looking at people. So I tell this story to everybody who cares to listen about that lady, that nephrologist. And I know she probably didn't know that she was inspirational. So I have learned along the way that people, and you may think people are not watching what you're doing, but there's so many people out there who would wish to be like you. So what are you doing to actually encourage them, or, you know, like sort of make them realize that they can also do something if they purpose to do it? Okay? Now, I was listening to all these success stories of all these women, village ones and town ones. There's one, I don't know if you can find like one unifying factor for every successful woman. It's believing in yourself. Believe in yourself. When we grow up and we're told you're a girl, yes, you're a girl child, so what? It doesn't mean anything. Now, for me, it means that I'm not different. It doesn't mean that because I'm a girl, I won't do everything. So you kept hearing that in everyone's story, I think, okay? So that should tell you that in order for you to be successful, believe in yourself. Your career path can be defined, but it will be defined by you. You know what you want to be, and you have to look at those who've been there. How have they managed? They haven't failed. They have not failed, and so you will also make it. So this is the same story that we are all telling. Yes, so in terms of knowing which career to take, I started by saying my dad told me to do medicine. I think most people will be like that. Like, someone will tell you, Or in our family, we are all shopkeepers, so I'll have a shop. Or in our family, we are all lawyers, so I'll also be a lawyer. So there are various parts or bits and pieces that determine exactly where you want or where you would be. But the most important thing is you actually. What do you want? Okay? So even as you're thinking about what you want, you can't do it on your own. You can't do it on your own. There's always a team to work with. There are always predecessors to follow. There are always lots of other people that you can consult. So that's what you need to have at the back of your mind. Thank you. Thank you. I'll start right from there. So I say that there are many people who are watching, but then there are also some people who do not want to do what you're doing. And I'll use my daughter. Um, by the way, I'm married. I have 3 beautiful daughters. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm everything. So once in a while, I get called up at different hours of the night, and I have to leave home to go and attend to a patient. My our firstborn she's in P7 now, and I remember 2 years ago I had to leave the house at 11:30. It's still early, by the way, I think, but to her that's very late. So it was during holiday time, and they were still awake. So I had to leave, and she's like, "Mommy, where are you going now?" I said, "No, I've been called to hospital. There's a very sick patient." She looked at me and said, "I wish you had. You should have been a teacher. Teachers are sleeping." Now, for you doctors, you're busy just running around. And tell you what, my daughter will never be a doctor just because of what she has seen me going through. And that's her. So even as I say that we are inspiring people, some of our, sometimes our lives are discouraging people because you have to juggle 101 things at the same time. But nonetheless, so you asked how did we make it through medical school? Yes, you're right, it's not easy, but it is still the determination that will help you finish. So everyone knows, yes, you're in med school for 5 years, and then you have this internship, which is even worse than the 5 years. And then you have to do a master's program. Then you have to do this, there's a lot. So it is your determination. Yes, it is tough. I remember very well after I had started internship. Now, this is outside of medical school. The first day I was on call in the surgery ward, on emergency ward actually. The very first patient I received was a lady who either had been run over by a border or had fallen off something, I don't know. But in summary, her foot was off and it was hanging. I'm sorry to be telling you gruesome stories, but you need to know. So her foot was hanging by this little tendon, and she came screaming because the border brought her right into the ward, right like outside, and she was screaming. And as then on duty, it's day one. When you're becoming a doctor, you think you're becoming a small god. I looked at the lady and I actually ran away. So we still have a human side to us. So I ran away and I went and called the SHO on call, the postgraduate student at that time. And I said, you know what, there's a lady, the foot is off, I don't know what to do. And I shied away. So even as you're training and there's so much pressure during the training, there's even more pressure during the actual practice. Okay? Yes, it's tough. You have to read more than you would do ordinarily. You have to discuss. But I think what helped us at the end of the day is doing everything together as a team. You cannot go through medical school or any other course on your own. You won't stand there and think you're going to understand the brain without actually asking somebody, okay? So much as it's tough, it's actually doable. And you also say that you used to think doctors were men. I'm a nurse now in this. I'm actually a nurse. Many patients will call me and say, to Antononda doctor, sorry to use that. But I'm used to that. So even on the ward you're going through and they'll say, you a nurse. I'm like, yes, please. So you need to humble yourself. It does not reduce you in any way. It is also a profession, a very noble profession, by the way, okay? So in whatever you do, whether you've achieved your dream, you're now Dr. Rose Muhindo, I don't know, Professor who, you are still a human being. And even the people you're looking after are also still human beings. Many a times I get patients calling me and saying, oh, I want to come and see you. I got your number from XYZ. And then I'm like, okay, find me here. And every time people will say, hey, I was expecting an old woman. I'm old. I'm old enough. But, people will still sort of not believe what you're saying because you're a woman. Now, I said I was at that time the only kidney doctor this side. And I struggled to get patients to believe what I was telling them. So you see a patient with kidney failure, you say, you know what, we need to start you on treatment X. And then they will look at you, you scribble your prescription, and they go away. Before you hear it, your colleague in Kampala is calling you saying, I'm sending you back this patient. And I'm like, but how did they get there? I had seen them. So we still have those challenges that people, yes, will know you're a professional. They'll take time to actually listen sometimes to what you're saying. And then they'll go and seek a second opinion. And then only when it is similar, then they'll come back and believe. But those things shouldn't discourage you. You just get used to them and keep pushing. Keep pushing. You had. There's a lot of sky. There's a lot of sky. So we can all fit up there and shine in one way or another. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I think I can say truthfully that we have been inspired from Miss Deborah to Dr. Martha to Miss Nuria to Miss Maureen to Dr. Rose. We are so inspired. We're so grateful that you all came. And I think, Dr. Rose, since you came in at the end, you can wrap up for all these wonderful ladies. And I think give a final word and also at, your personal experience in taking care of oneself, especially still progressing in career. But we've seen everyone up here is so composed, looks beautiful, their mind looks put together, no one looks like they are about to fall apart. How do we stay together as women? Like your person, you're together, your whole body, soul, and spirit. How can we do that and still be progressing career-wise? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. That's a tough question. So I wrote here in my book that don't allow stress to show. So at any one time in my life, even if I'm going through the deepest of valleys, which are many, I purpose to make the world believe that I'm okay. I don't know if you watch Henry Danger. Do you? He likes saying, I'm okay. Everything, he gets hurt, he'll say, I'm okay. So that's me. So I am always okay. So if you keep that at the back of your mind, that you're always okay, even when you're dying inside, of course, there are Marines to help you. But you need to make sure that you try and stay on top of the game. Until you feel you're breaking, yes, You're allowed to break. Okay? But if you take certain things for granted, then it might be actually tough. I didn't say that I'm actually the head of the COVID-19 task force. And before doing this job, I had already been heading the viral hemorrhagic fever task force. So that's Ebola and Marburg. These are deadlier things than COVID-19. But I've looked after several patients and I've been there and I wasn't worried until COVID-19 came. I sat down with my husband and I said, you know what, I'm actually not very keen to take on this job. And I'm praying that somebody else will come in and lead the team. So the very first meeting we had in our department, I made all these remarks, and I think people was like, "No, what is she saying? She's been doing this forever. Like it has to be you." So nobody came forth, and I had to continue leading the team. I remember that day Mbarara got its first case on May 16th, I think. I got called. It was a Sunday. We're having Sunday lunch, and then they call you. You need to come now. We have a COVID confirmed case coming to your unit for admission. I said, wow. I put down my fork. I went to the bedroom. I knelt down and I started crying. So I said, now why are you crying? I said, okay, we've seen Italians dying. We've seen Americans dying. Now what about Mbararians, like Ugandans? What's going to happen? So I said, I'm not going. I'm not leaving this house. They have to. But I said, but I already signed. I didn't sign anywhere, but we had already made all the preparations, okay? So inside I was breaking. And my husband sat me down and said, Rose, let's pray. Go in there, you'll be fine. I said, really? So because I said I'm okay and I don't allow stress to show, should have seen the way I arrived at that unit. Like, we've been there before. Where is the patient? We are ready. But in my heart, I was like, oh, God, I'm going to get COVID. But at the end of it all, it's just how do you manage? It is now you. It's you. Believe in yourself. Always believe in yourself. You will stay beautiful. You'll be on top of everything. And you will be able to manage whatever task you have. I'll keep making reference to my fellow women. I said there's one unifying thing. They are very strong, they are very focused, and they know what they want. So, and that's what has made everybody successful in whatever field that they are doing. So for me, that's what I would say.
Wow, thank you. It has been a great time having all of you here. I just have a note from behind, and it is going to Dr. Martha. Someone is saying, the society says that when one does not follow a career in sciences, then they will not be successful. And you're here, the first lady, AR, and you didn't do sciences. Like the profile doesn't say anything like sciences. So someone behind wants to know, is it true or it's false? If I'm doing economics, will I be successful? For us, I think, what the society tells us is our head leads us. So for them, the doctors, even if they lock everything, like they've locked hospitals or whatever, she will still work because I will get sick. It is a must. I will get sick and I will call her. Even if she treats me from her place, I will still pay her. But then what about me, a planner who needs to be in office and on computer, and how can I get successful? Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much for that question. Maureen is not a scientist, is she? Nuriat told you she's not a scientist. Did you say you were a scientist? No. But here we are seated with a scientist. So, no, you can be successful. Like what Maureen said, the sky is there for all of us. The scientists, they have their role to play, a wonderful role to play, and we need them. And the president, our president of the Republic of Uganda, he is now emphasizing the role of scientists. But that does not mean that the rest of us are below that. No, 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 no. We are complementary. So let society say what it wants to say. You tell yourself, I am important. I can do this. So, and you have seen the other women succeeding. I didn't do sciences. I wish I could, but I did not have, it wasn't a gifting in me. So the only science I tried to get in was mathematics, which I did at A level. But otherwise, so you will be successful from the humanities side.
Wow. Thank you for that clarity. I am so glad we've taken a lot of time. Sorry for delaying you here, but it has been a great time with you. The stories were more and more enjoyable. We forgot that we were supposed to be here for 1 hour. It is now coming to 2, and you get 2 hours and 40 minutes. Like, it has been too much. But we are going to engage you more and more with time, even when I'm out of office. By the way, she's coming into my office. She's Bridget in Cementa. She's the current Minister of Gender and Guidance. Uh, be free to just introduce myself to her. She was not there. My name is Fiona Nwahwela, and I'm the outgoing Minister of Gender and Guidance. I'm just opening a way for her to come in. So please, in case tomorrow she gives you a message and she's saying she's Bridget, please come in for her, because I don't want my candle to light and then how she comes and it falls, and it is all by you. Because if I call you and you're here and tomorrow you don't hear, it's like, oh, now bali bepanga, so now where are they? Eh? Auntie, we knew, ladies can't you get all that they say. So let's keep in touch. Thank you for mentoring us. We are so happy and grateful. I had forgot. She said about Freshers Week. I think I'm the person that has benefited from this. The first time I talked to her face to face was the Freshers Week. I was working on the gate. They give us a lot of money, by the way. Because we're students, imagine getting 100 on your account. You're like, oh, should I eat chicken? Should I eat? Like, it's because you're a student, like, wow, it's really a lot. But me, money was not the most target. I think experience was the most target, because in that Freshers Week, I've worked for 2 times. When I was in the second year and now when I was in third year. It has given me a lot of experience, because I've come to talk to her personally. Like, it is really good, because when we're talking one-on-one, it is different from academics. She would tell me any social thing, like, because it is not all about academics. Good, I've got to know a lot of people in this university just because I'm getting involved in university stuff. So I think that is really good for me, and me, if I'm to speak, I think I would really have a lot of time. But thank you for coming. So next time when we call you again, please, we are sorry for delaying you. Next time we shall do it in time. Thank you so much. I remain Nwahwela Fiona.